Marquee. A roof-like projection over the entrance to a theater, hotel, or other building. Masturbate. Stimulate one's genitals with one's hand for sexual pleasure. Melanoma. A form of skin cancer that develops in melanin-forming cells. Mobilize. Prepare and organize troops for active service. Nag. Informal, often derogatory a horse, especially one that is old or in poor condition. Nag. Constantly ask someone to do something that they are reluctant to do. Nativity. Old use a person's birth. Nook. A small corner or other place that is sheltered or hidden. Nutritious. Full of nutrients and so helping the body to grow or stay healthy. Overdrive. A mechanism in a motor vehicle providing an extra gear above the usual top gear. Padding. Soft material used to pad or stuff something. Pant. Breathe with short, quick breaths, typically as a result of physical exertion. Passover. The major Jewish spring festival, commemorating the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. Penitentiary. A prison for people convicted of serious crimes. Perilous. Full of danger or risk. Plastered. Informal, very drunk. Polytechnic. A college offering courses in many subjects, especially vocational or technical subjects. Posse. Historical, a group of men summoned by a sheriff to enforce the law. Rename. Give a new name to someone or something. Repulsive. Arousing intense distaste or disgust. Respite. A short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. Saber. A heavy sword with a curved blade. Samba. A Brazilian dance of African origin. Shaggy. Of hair or fur, long, thick, and untidy. Sitter. A person who poses for an artist or photographer. Slant. Slope or lean in a particular direction. Sleepless. Not sleeping, unable to sleep. Slur. Speak words in an unclear way, with the sounds running into one another. Snowball. A ball of packed snow. Soothe. Gently calm a person or their fears. Spelt. An old kind of wheat with bearded ears and spikelets that each contain 2 narrow grains, used especially in health foods. Streamline. USU. Tacky. Of glue, paint, etc., slightly sticky because not fully dry. Terminus. Termini/ni/ or terminuses, chiefly Brit. Thaw. Become or make liquid or soft after being frozen. Throughput. The amount of material or items passing through a system or process. Tout. Attempt to sell something, typically by using a direct or persistent approach. Transnational. Extending or operating across national boundaries. Tripod. A three-legged stand for supporting a camera or other piece of equipment. Tulip. A spring flowering plant with boldly colored cup-shaped flowers. Turnpike. An expressway, especially one on which a toll is charged. Unattended. Without the owner or a responsible person present, not being supervised or looked after. Unbeatable. Not able to be bettered or beaten. Undertaker. A funeral director. Vulture. A large bird of prey without feathers on the head and neck, that feeds on dead animals. Waterway. A river, canal, or other route for travel by water. Whistleblower. Informal, a person who informs on someone engaged in an illicit activity. Absentee. A person who is absent. Anecdotal. Not necessarily true because based on someone's personal account of an event rather than on facts. Anemia. A shortage of red cells or hemoglobin in the blood, making a person pale and tired. Animosity. Strong hostility, hatred. Autoimmune. Caused by antibodies or lymphocytes produced by the body to counteract substances naturally present in it. Beggar. A person who lives by begging for food or money. Bouncy. Able to bounce or making something bounce. Canteen. A restaurant in a military camp, workplace, school, or factory. Capacitor. A device used to store electric charge. Carbohydrate. Any of a large group of compounds, including sugars, starch, and carbolic acid cellulose, that contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, found in food and used to give energy. Cavalier. Historical, a supporter of King Charles I in the English Civil War. Centrist. A person having moderate political views or policies. Chakra. Each of 7 centers of spiritual power in the human body. Chauffeur. A person employed to drive a car. Circulate. Move continuously through a closed system or area. Climber. A person who climbs rocks or mountains as a sport. Commandment. A rule given by God, especially one of the 10 Commandments. Conceivable. Capable of being imagined or understood. Condone. Overlook or forgive an offense or wrongdoing. Congested. So crowded as to make movement difficult or impossible. Contiguous. Sharing a border. Cranberry. A small sour red berry used in cooking. Custard. A boiled or baked dessert made with milk, eggs, and sugar. Deflect. Turn aside from a straight 328 defunct course. Devour. Eat food greedily. Digger. A person, animal, or large machine that digs earth. Disarmament. The reduction or withdrawal of military forces and weapons. Embody. Give a physical or visible form to an idea or quality. Envision. Imagine something as a future possibility. Esoteric. Intended for or understood by only a small number of people who have a specialized knowledge of something. Euthanasia. The painless killing of a patient who has an incurable disease or who is in an irreversible coma. Fabian. A member or supporter of the Fabian Society, an organization that aims to establish socialism in a gradual way that does not involve revolution. Felon. A person who has committed a felony. Flammable. Easily set on fire. Footnote. An additional piece of information printed at the bottom of a page. Frontman. The leader of a band. Garnet. A deep red semi-precious stone. Grapefruit. A large round yellow citrus fruit with a slightly bitter taste. Grate. A metal frame for holding fuel in a fireplace. Grate. Shred food by rubbing it on a grater. Greyhound. A swift, slender breed of dog used in racing. Hairdresser. A person who cuts and styles hair. Hilly. Having many hills. Hone. Make better or more efficient. Incomprehensible. Not able to be understood. Inertia. Lack of desire or ability to move or change. Insurrection. A violent uprising against authority. Intolerable. Unable to be endured. Jordanian. A person from Jordan. Leech. Old use a doctor or healer. Lay. A Polynesian garland of flowers. Nifty. Informal, particularly good, effective, or stylish. Palladium. A rare silvery white metallic element resembling platinum. Parmesan. A hard, dry Italian cheese used chiefly in grated form. Pathogen. A microorganism that can cause disease. Piazza. A public square or marketplace, especially in Italy. Possessive. Demanding someone's total attention and love. Prefecture. A district governed by a prefect. Pretentious. Attempting to impress others by pretending to be more important or better than one actually is. Promenade. A paved public walk along a seafront. Pronoun. A word used instead of a noun to indicate someone or something already mentioned or known, e.g., I, she, this. Proximal. Chiefly anatomy situated nearer to the center of the body or the point of attachment. Rapport. A close relationship in which people understand each other and communicate well. Rapture. Great pleasure or joy. Ration. A fixed amount of food, fuel, or a similar commodity, officially allowed to each person during a shortage. Reconnect. Connect someone or something again. Rectify. Put something right. Rudimentary. Involving only the basic facts or elements. Screenwriter. A person who writes a screenplay for a movie. Seine. A fishing net that hangs vertically in the water with floats at the top and weights at the bottom edge, the ends being drawn together to encircle the fish. Selector. A device for selecting a particular gear or other setting of a machine or device. Shawl. A large piece of fabric worn by women over the shoulders or head or wrapped around a baby. Shilling. A former British coin and unit of money equal to 1/20th of a pound or 12 pence. Shroud. A length of cloth in which a dead person is wrapped for burial. Skim. Remove a substance from the surface of a liquid. Slovak. A person from Slovakia. Starboard. The side of a ship or aircraft on the right when one is facing forward. Stereotypical. Relating to or resembling a stereotype. Tarzan. A very strong and agile man. Twinkle. Of a star or light, shine with a gleam that changes constantly from bright to faint. Uncharted. Not mapped or surveyed. Unforeseen. Not anticipated or predicted. Unsigned. Not identified or authorized by a person's signature. Unspoken. Understood without being expressed in speech. Valet. A man's male attendant, responsible for looking after his clothes and other personal needs. Vendetta. A prolonged bitter quarrel with or campaign against someone. Weakly. In a weak way. Wiener. A frankfurter or similar sausage. Alderman. Or alderwoman, an elected member of a city council. Amplify. Increase the strength of sound or electrical signals. Attrition. The gradual reduction of something's strength or effectiveness through prolonged attack or pressure. Autopilot. Short for automatic pilot. Baggy. Loose and hanging in bulges or folds. Bailout. Informal and active giving financial assistance to a failing business or economy to save it from collapse. Ballast. A heavy substance carried by a ship or hot air balloon to keep it stable. Bigfoot. A large, hairy ape-like creature, supposedly found in NW America. Biotech. Informal biotechnology. Blackjack. A gambling card game in which players try to acquire cards with a face value as close as possible to 21 without going over. Bloodstream. The blood circulating through the body. Bluegrass. Also Kentucky bluegrass, a meadow grass grown for fodder in North America. Chipping. A small fragment of stone, wood, or similar material. Cockroach. A beetle-like insect with long antennae and legs, some kinds of which are household pests. Collaborator. A person who works with someone on an activity or project. Cumbersome. Large and heavy and so difficult to carry or use. Curt. So brief or abrupt as to be rude. Cyclic. Occurring in cycles. Diversify. Make or become more varied. Dynamo. A machine for converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. Elixir. A magical potion, especially one supposedly able to make people live forever. Endgame. The final stage of a game such as chess or bridge, when few pieces or cards remain ending/ending/. Epiphany. Epiphany, the occasion on which Jesus appeared to the Magi, Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2. Eyeliner. A cosmetic applied as a line around the eyes. Fable. A short story with a moral, typically featuring animals as characters. Fatality. An occurrence of death by accident, in war, or from disease. Firewood. Wood that is burned as fuel. Foresight. The ability to predict and prepare for future events and needs. Gabby. Informal, excessively or annoyingly talkative. Greenfield. Previously undeveloped or built on. Hackney. Chiefly historical one, a horse with a high stepping trot, used in harness. Hamstring. Any of 5 tendons at the back of a person's knee. Horseshoe. A U-shaped iron band attached to the base of a horse's hoof. Incision. A cut made as part of a surgical operation. Indistinguishable. Not able to be identified as different or distinct. Infer. Work something out from evidence and reasoning rather than from direct statements. Inpatient. A patient who stays in a hospital while receiving treatment. Intensify. Increase in degree, force, or strength. Kennel. A small shelter for a dog. Khmer. A person from Cambodia. Lager. A light effervescent beer. Laird. A person who owns a large estate. Loathing. Hatred or disgust. Manhood. The state or period of being a man. Menopause. The ending of menstruation or the stage in a woman's life, typically between 45 and 50, when this occurs. Mole. Chemistry short for mole. Napkin. A square piece of cloth or paper used at a meal to wipe the fingers or lips and to protect clothes. Nelly. Informal, a silly person. Nugget. A small lump of gold or other precious metal found in the earth. Opus. RA/1, a musical composition or set of compositions. Painless. Not causing pain. Politico. Informal, chiefly derogatory, a politician. Prenatal. Before birth. Probate. The official process of proving that a will is valid. Procure. Get or obtain something. Propel. Drive or push someone or something forward. Propensity. A tendency to behave in a particular way. Punjabi. For a person from Punjab, a region of northwestern India and Pakistan. Roadmap. A map showing the roads of an area. Rosary. In the Roman Catholic Church, a form of devotion in which 5, or 15, sets of 10 Hail Marys are repeated. Rundown. A brief analysis or summary. Ruse. An action intended to deceive someone, a trick. Seniority. A high or higher status, especially because of being older or having been in an office or service longer. Severance. The ending of a connection or relationship. Sheath. A cover for the blade of a knife or sword. Shorthand. A method of rapid writing by means of abbreviations and symbols, used for recording what someone is saying. Singularity. The state, fact, quality, or condition of being singular, a peculiarity or odd trait. Snowman. A model of a human figure created with compressed snow. Socialize. Mix socially with other people. Spin-off. A product or benefit produced during or after the main activity. Squarely. Not at an angle, directly. Stepmother. A woman who sees sanitary. INFTIF ones, is married to one's father after the divorce of one, sterilisa/stereas/. Strut. A bar used to support or strengthen force structure. Swagger. Walk or behave in a very confident or arrogant way. Swirl. Move in a twisting or spiraling pattern. Telecommunication. Long-distance communication by means of cable, telephone, broadcasting, satellite, etc. Theorist. A theoretician. Thong. A narrow strip of leather or other material, used as a fastening or as the lash of a whip. Tot. A very young child. Tycoon. A wealthy, powerful person in business or industry. Uncontrollable. Not able to be controlled. Unorthodox. Different, sickening. Uproar. A loud and emotional noise or disturbance. Vertigo. A feeling of dizziness caused by looking down from a great height or by disease affecting the inner ear. Viscount. A British nobleman ranking above a baron and below an earl. Walkway. A raised passageway in a building, or a wide path outdoors. Windmill. A building with sails or yanes that turn in the wind and produce power to grind grain, generate electricity, or draw water. Wrapper. A piece of paper or other material used for wrapping something. Yogi. A person who is skilled in yoga. Z. The letter Z. Acetate. Chemistry, a salt or ester of acetic acid. Allure. Powerful attractiveness or charm. Anthrax. A serious disease of sheep and cattle, caused by a bacterium and able to be transmitted to humans. Antisemitism. Hostility to or prejudice against Jews. Aqueous. Relating to or containing water. Attainment. The achieving of concentra donband learned faculties. Auctioneer. A person who conducts auctions. Axial. Relating to or forming an axis. Battleship. A heavily armored warship with large caliber guns. Bayonet. A long blade fixed to the muzzle of a rifle for hand-to-hand fighting. Burnout. Physical or mental collapse. Buyout. The purchase of a controlling share in a company. Byte. A unit of information stored in a computer, equal to 8 bits. Carat. A unit of weight for precious stones and pearls, equivalent to. Carcinoma. A cancer arising in the tissues of the skin or of the lining of the internal organs. Caveat. A warning that certain conditions or provisos need to be taken into account. Chairperson. A chairman or chairwoman. Chore. A routine or boring task, especially a household one. Circumvent. Find a way of avoiding a problem, regulation, or obstacle. Clique. A small group of people who spend time together and are unwilling to allow others to join them. Co. Mooring, dock, pier, jetty, quay. Contemplation. The process of contemplating something. Contrived. Deliberately created rather than arising naturally, and typically seeming artificial. Corolla. The petals of a flower, typically forming a whorl within the sepals. Corrugated. Shaped into alternate ridges and grooves. Cuz. Informal short for because. Cozy Y/K6A/ Brit. Cranky. Informal one bad-tempered, irritable. Curvy. Having many curves. Deteriorate. Become gradually worse. Disorderly. Not organized or tidy. Distraught. Very worried and upset. Drizzle. Light rain falling in very fine drops. Edging. Something forming an edge or border. Embankment. A wall or bank built to prevent flooding by a river. Emergent. In the process of coming into being. Enchanting. Delightfully charming or are attractive. Entice. Persuade someone to do something by offering something pleasant or beneficial. Exalted. At a high level. Exchequer. A royal or national treasury. Filly. A young female horse, especially one less than 4 years old. Formality. A thing done to follow convention or rules. Fortitude. Courage and strength in bearing pain or trouble. Gent. Informal one, a gentleman. Geopolitical. Relating to politics, especially international relations, as influenced by geographical factors. Goliath. A person or thing of enormous size or strength. Grievance. A real or imagined cause for complaint. Grunt. Of an animal, especially a pig, make a low, short guttural sound. Halal. Prepared as prescribed by Muslim law. Harmonious. Tuneful, not discordant. Hijab. A head covering worn in public by some Muslim women. Hitherto. Until the point in time under discussion. Hornet. A kind of large wasp, typically red and yellow or red and black. Hyperbolic. Of language, deliberately exaggerated. Impedance. The total resistance of an electric circuit to the flow of alternating current. Incline. Tend or be willing to think or do. Insignia. A badge or emblem of someone's rank, position, or membership in a group or organization. Intercontinental. Relating to or traveling between continents. Interplay. The way in which things interact. Interpol. An international organization that coordinates investigations made by the police forces of member countries into international crimes. Isotope. Chemistry, each of two or more forms of the same element that contain equal numbers of protons but different numbers of neutrons in their nuclei. Jehovah. A form of the Hebrew name of God. Jigsaw. A puzzle consisting of a picture printed on cardboard or wood and cut into many interlocking shapes that have to be fitted together. Juniper. An evergreen shrub or small tree with berries that are used to flavor gin. Juice. A thin gravy or sauce made from meat juices. Kindred. Treated as PL, one's family and relations. Lander. A spacecraft designed to land on the surface of a planet or moon. Lollipop. A flat, rounded candy on the end of a stick. Machete. A broad, heavy knife used as an implement or weapon. Marshmallow. A spongy confection made from a mixture of sugar, egg white, and gelatin. Merchandising. Products used to promote a particular movie, pop music group, etc. Mink. A small stoat-like mammal farmed for its fur. Mischievous. Misbehaving or fond of misbehaving in a playful way. Misunderstand. Fail to understand someone or something correctly. Monograph. A scholarly written study of a single subject. Moo. Of a cow, make a long, deep sound. Mucus. A slimy substance produced by the mucous membranes and glands of animals for lubrication, protection, etc. Mulberry. A dark red or white fruit resembling the loganberry. Nameless. Having no name. Naturalist. An expert in or student of natural history. Newsroom. The area in a newspaper or broadcasting office where news is processed. Nightlife. Social activities or entertainment available at night. Omnibus. A book containing several works previously published separately. Outburst. A sudden release of strong emotion. Overarching. Covering or dealing with everything. Overwhelm. Have a strong emotional effect on. Peacekeeping. The practice of using an international military force to maintain a truce. Pharmacology. The branch of science concerned with the uses, effects, and action of drugs. Ply. A thickness or layer of a folded or laminated material. Ply. Work steadily with a tool or at one's job. Proponent. A person who supports a theory, proposal, or project. Provenance. The origin or earliest known history of something. Provost. A senior administrative officer in certain colleges and universities. Putt. Strike a golf ball gently so that it rolls into or near a hole. Quadruple. Consisting of 4 parts or elements. Quaker. A member of the Religious Society of Friends, a Christian movement that is strongly opposed to war and violence and that meets without any formal ceremony. Raptor. A bird of prey. Ratchet. A device consisting of a bar or wheel with a set of angled teeth in which a cog, tooth, or pivoted bar fits, allowing motion in one direction only. Ravine. A deep, narrow gorge with steep sides. Raving. Wild talk that makes no sense. Redress. Put an undesirable or unfair situation right. Regenerate. Bring new life or strength to. Reincarnation. The rebirth of a soul in a new body. Rife. Especially of something undesirable, widespread. Samaritan. Good Samaritan, a charitable or helpful person. Sax informal, a saxophone. Saxophone. A member of a family of metal wind instruments with a reed like a clarinet, used especially in jazz. Scorpio. The 8th sign of the zodiac, the Scorpion, which the sun enters about October 23rd. Settler. A person who establishes a community in a new area. Sever. Cut something off or into pieces. Sharpen. Make or become sharp. Shellfish. A creature such as a crab or oyster that has a shell and lives in water, especially an edible one. Shortening. Fat used for making pastry. Shrapnel. Small metal fragments thrown out by the explosion of a shell, bomb, etc. Shutout. A competition or game in which the losing side fails to score. Sickle. A farming tool with a short handle and a semicircular blade, used for cutting cereals or grass. Singleton. A single person or thing of the kind under consideration. Skit. A short comedy sketch or piece of humorous writing, especially one that makes fun of someone or something by imitating them. Slavic. The group of languages that includes Russian, Polish, Czech, Bulgarian, and Serbo-Croat. Snuff. powdered tobacco that is sniffed up the nostril. Stairway. A set of steps or stairs and its surrounding walls or structure. Starry. Full of or lit by stars. Stoic. A stoical person. Supersonic. Involving or referring to a speed greater than that of sound. Tablespoon. A large spoon for serving food. Temperance. The practice of never drinking alcohol. Thrash. Beat someone or something repeatedly and violently with a stick or whip. Tombstone. A large, flat inscribed stone standing or laid over a grave. Tributary. A river or stream flowing into a larger river or lake. Turd. Vulgar slang one a lump of excrement. Unchecked. Not controlled or restrained. Unimaginable. Impossible to imagine or understand. Unsecured. Of a loan made without an asset given as security. Unsustainable. Not able to be maintained at the current rate or level. Utopian. Relating to or aiming for a situation in which everything is perfect. Warship. A ship equipped with weapons and designed to take part in warfare at sea. Zenith. The time at which someone or something is most powerful or successful. Abbreviation. A shortened form of a word or phrase. Adhesion. The action of adhering to something. Atrocious. Horrifyingly cruel or wicked. Avert. Turn away one's eyes. Avian. Relating to birds. Backstory. A history or background created for a fictional character in a movie or television program. Bayou. In the southern U.S., a marshy outlet of a lake or river. Bullish. Aggressively confident and self-assertive. Cantor. An official who sings liturgical music and leads prayer in a Jewish synagogue. Chastity. The practice of refraining from all sex, or from sex outside marriage. Chime. A tuneful ringing sound. Chromium. A hard white metallic chemical element used in stainless steel and other alloys. Circumstantial. Of evidence, strongly suggesting something, but not proving it conclusively. Conductivity. The degree to which a particular material conducts electricity or heat. Cordon. A line or circle of police, soldiers, or guards forming a barrier. Cram. Force too many people or things into a place or container. Crazed. Behaving in an uncontrolled or insane way. Crossword. A puzzle consisting of a grid of squares and blanks into which words crossing vertically and horizontally are written according to clues. Cuddly. Pleasantly soft or plump. Decipher. Convert something written in code into normal language. Delve. Reach inside a receptacle and search for something. Depletion. The action of decreasing something. Discriminating. Having RR showing good taste or judgment. Dispersal. The spreading of things or people over a wide area. Displeasure. A feeling of annoyance or dissatisfaction. Variant spelling of peace. Effortless. Done or achieved without effort, natural and easy. Air. And conjunction literary or old use before, in time. Eyeshadow. A colored cosmetic applied to the eyelids or to the skin around the eyes. Fave. And adjective informal short for favorite. 470 fon favor/Brit. Fluke. A parasitic flatworm that typically has suckers and hooks for attachment to the host. Furnish. Provide a room or building with furniture and fittings. Gauntlet. Go through an intimidating crowd or experience in order to reach a goal. Ghanaian. A person from Ghana. Ghostly. 547 jibe relating T. Torliki a ghost, eerie. Grating. Sounding harsh and unpleasant. Grating. A framework of parallel or crossed bars that covers an opening. Grouse. A medium-sized game bird with a plump body and feathered legs. Grouse. Complain or grumble. Growl. Especially of a dog, make a low sound of hostility in the throat. Habitual. Done regularly and in a way that is difficult to stop. Hammock. A wide strip of canvas or rope mesh suspended at both ends, used as a bed. Hazy. Covered by a haze. Himalayan. Relating to the Himalayas, a mountain system in southern Asia. Hurling. An Irish game resembling hockey, played with a shorter stick. Idealistic. Believing that ideals can be achieved, even when this is unrealistic. Impede. Delay or block the progress or of weights and measures, based on a non-metric action of. Inhumane. Showing no compassion for the misery or suffering of other people, cruel. Instantaneous. Occurring or done immediately. Jinx. A person or thing that brings bad luck. Jobless. Without a paid job. Jew. Informal, a sticky or slimy substance. Jurisprudence. The theory or philosophy of law. Justifiable. Able to be shown to be right or reasonable. Lark. A brown songbird that sings while in flight. Linkage. The action of linking people or things. Mohawk. 4. A member of an American Indian people originally inhabiting parts of what is now Upper New York State. Nada. Informal nothing. Newfound. Recently found or discovered. Ombudsman. An official appointed to investigate people's complaints against an organization. Pancreas. A large gland behind the stomach that pancreatitis produces digestive enzymes and releases them into the duodenum,